listening to the Joe Khamou Show. Real sports, real talk.
All right, guys, welcome to the show. Paul Elia on the show, amazing comedian and fellow Assyrian. We are a rare breed. I'm like, I got to get this guy on my show. I want to talk to him, want to hear his story. I know it's not really sports related. We're going to talk about it. I don't know if you watch sports at all, but welcome to the show, Paul. Excited to have you.
Bro, thank you for having me, man. Shalom Aleichem. That means peace be with you in our native Suda tongue.
Yeah, Shalom Aleichem. Hopefully, you guys look into some people say, "Oh, are you Syrian?" I'm like, "No, Assyrian. Look it up, man. It's like ancient Mesopotamian, first Christians in Iraq, or only Christians." Dude, I've got so many explanations on how to say what Assyrians are about, but ancient Mesopotamians, that's us warriors. We were the original Sparta. We were the Spartans. We're the strongest warrior and civilization of all time, I would think.
Yeah, bro, we were the first 300.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, bro. Warrior tribes, and it's interesting, bro. And it's like, that's really in our blood, man. That's why it's like so cool seeing like, Benil sort of get to the level that he's at. I'm just like, bro, now there's like, he's a warrior as well.
Yeah.
So it's so dope to see, man.
Yeah, I was excited to have Benil Dariush on the show, fellow Assyrian, top 5 lightweight, going on a 2-fight losing streak, coming off an 8-fight win streak. So very upset to see him lose, but I think he'll bounce back. I think he's just trying to figure stuff out. Some people have the losses, but they bounce back stronger. So hopefully that's the same case for our fellow Assyrian, Benil.
Yeah, man, I'm praying for him.
So what's your story, man? I saw you on, someone sent me your profile. I think you're pretty funny, man, to be honest, because comedy is kind of subjective. Some people either like you or you don't. So as soon as I saw a couple of clips, I resonated with you. I thought it was really funny. And I'm like, I wanted to get you on, talk about your story. And it seems like you have a good circle. Matt Rife, is he part of your circle as well?
Yeah, man, that's one of my dearest friends, bro. It's one of my first real close friends in comedy. I mean, you meet a lot of people in the game, fellow travelers, people that are doing comedy, and then you meet them and you're like, this person's not that funny. So it's like kind of hard being friends with somebody whose art you don't fully respect, but they're such good people. And then there's other people where it's like their art is so good, but you kind of have a hard time just being their friend and you guys don't see eye to eye on a lot of subjects.
Yeah.
So Matt was somebody who really fit both molds, where it's like he's someone who I genuinely love. I genuinely love this dude. And his comedy is so great. So, we just bonded pretty immediately and then we became friends, and it's so dope to see his rise, and I'm so grateful for him, bro. I mean, my comedy special is out right now, Detroit Player. You can watch it right now on Mint Comedy. If you get a subscription, you can watch it. And I told Matt, I want you to executive produce this, immediately on board. How can I help you? Took me on the road with him. So he's one of those guys that also has like good, in Arabic, they say edeb, where I don't know what the Sudeth word is for respect. But like he was just, rising me up, and I'm so grateful for him.
He remembers his roots, and a guy like him, how recently has he broken through? Because I discovered him about a month ago when that Netflix special came out with him in it. When did he actually break through? How recent was that, when he actually broke through the absolute mainstream?
So there's a few time stamps. The first time stamp I would say is when he got on Wildin' Out, which was Nick Cannon's improvised sketch show, and Matt was on there for 2 seasons. And then after Wildin' Out happened, he started dating some celebrities, and then that got a lot of press, mainly when he was dating Kate Beckinsale. So he started to get a lot of press, like, who's this hot young comic that she's dating? And that sort of like rose him up. And then years later, TikTok is what really blew him up. And that was probably in 2002, I would say. 2002 is when he really just catapulted into the stratosphere.
You mean 2020 or
22?
22. Okay, not 2002. That would have been a long time ago. Okay.
Yeah.
22. That's wild, man. And I love the fact that he's like staying humble, as big as he's gotten, and he's hanging out with the people that he's rooted with. And I see so many videos of you guys on your social media. I love that, because I've seen it before. Some people go Hollywood and they're like, oh, I'm not talking to people that I used to be around with. Not to say that anyone's below anybody, but it's just like, he's staying with that root team. And that's what I love. It seems like he's a humble dude.
Big time, yeah. And also, it's like, I understand how some people get Hollywood. It's like, the more rise you get, it's that people just sort of want to like claw onto you and take things. And
right.
They could be some of the closest people in your life. So I totally understand the idea of protecting yourself, but I don't like the idea of some people sort of removing themselves from an entire world that they were once tapped into because they now have access to this new crop of people. So I'm anti that. That is like, the version of like Hollywooding somebody. It's like all of
Right.
a sudden now all you want to do is hang out with Drake and
Yeah.
all you want to do is hang out with, XYZ. But he's the same dude, man. And I'm so happy for him, happy for that. And honestly, if he wasn't on that vibe, if he was changing, he's somebody where I feel comfortable enough to where I can actually give him a real honest big brother note.
Good.
And like my buddy brother Ali, phenomenal rapper, bro. He gave through my buddy Uzzer Usman, who's one of the producers of my special. He gave him some amazing advice, and he says sometimes you have to be so honest with your friends. You have to risk the friendship,
Wow.
and that mostly goes into like celebrity culture. Like sometimes you have to tell somebody, listen, bro, you wilding out right now. I know you don't want to hear that, but I got to tell you this. So take it as you want, take it as you wish. And some of those people will be like, I don't want to hang out with this guy no more. I'm okay with someone not being my friend if I'm being so honest with them, it hurts our relationship. It's okay to me. And
Right.
Matt's the type of guy where I've always been honest with him, and he's always been honest with me. So we're really brothers, man.
And comedy is such a hard thing. I want to get into your story real quick, but just to wrap up this Matt thing, he went under a lot of criticism for some of the comments he did in his special, and just again going into people being so soft. How did he handle that? It seemed like he handled it good. He didn't apologize. I think it was something about a domestic thing, and it just people got to realize comedy is joking around. People were not so sensitive before, so I do want to get into this. Like, is comedy difficult now with all the sensitivity and people being offended about every little thing? So how did he handle that from if you being a friend with him? Because it seems like he didn't apologize. And I actually went in there and he doesn't know me like at all. This was like when it happened. I'm like, dude, don't back down. Don't apologize. Like people are weak or something. He liked the comment. So it's like he's holding his ground, right? I think that's a great thing. You don't want to, as soon as I think people start apologizing and retreating, people are on you more, I would think.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's so interesting. People are like, "Oh, Matt's canceled." I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting. He just sold out the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
He just announced tickets the day he announced tickets. He already almost completely sold out the Hollywood Bowl. That
Right.
doesn't feel like canceled to me in any way. And I think there's two worlds, Joe. There is the world that we live in, and then there's this digital TikTok world. And the digital TikTok world, it does not govern our world.
Right.
It has some influence, but it doesn't govern it. So if someone is upset saying, I hate Matt Rife, he said this thing, and everyone's commenting, wow, I hate him too. These
Yeah.
are people that are not buying tickets, and that's okay. They
That's
were never a fan, and they never bought a ticket. So it's like we don't need them anyway. They never were ones that they were never our demographic to begin with. So his
right.
demographic is strong. They have his back. I think it's a lot of good points. It's like, yes, these are jokes. I mean, you can debate whether how funny the joke actually was. Like in that domestic violence joke, which he says he uses that as a temperature check,
Right.
for the whole special. And like that was his ploy of doing it. I support him in his endeavor of using it as a temperature check. And, it's like, hey, if this isn't for you, turn it off. And the people who did turn it off did. And the people who did watch, which is why it was number one in almost every country the first few weeks it was out. And it was getting the most streams and it was getting a bunch of love and a lot of press. But it's like negative information seems to be highlighted and bolded and underlined way more than positive, which is just normally the nature of the game that we're in. But I ain't worried about him. He's gonna be fine, and comedy will live.
I'm really curious to hear what it's like on stage dealing with criticism and haters, but I want to put it into like context. I want to explain kind of what I went through recently. So I did a post. There was a player. Do you watch football at all or no?
Yeah, I watch football.
It must be excited. The Lions are doing good. You're from Detroit, right? Yeah, I'm a big Sam Laporta guy. I was the only one that believed in Sam Laporta before Sam Laporta was broken out. I saw that. I saw Jahmyr Gibbs. That's a whole other story. But I want to explain something that I'm getting a lot of flack for right now. Long story short, there's this guy here. Let me see if I can pull out a picture here. TJ Hawkinson here. I don't know if you can see this picture.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so what happened was I'm getting ripped on Twitter. So Hawkinson on October 29th, the coach said, hey man, go down to stop the clock. Fake an injury. Go down, go down. So you see Hawkinson here. You kind of see him. He's got this, he grabs his calf, does this whole dramatic effect, okay? Like, It was like dramatic, like like, and gets like limps off, like he's not hurt. Like I know you want to stop the clock, but you're actually limping off. You're at the sideline, still play like you're an actor. You're an ass. You're acting, right? So he actually, ironically, hilariously, got hurt. He's tore his act. This is like now. It's like a week or two ago. He tore his ACL and MCL. So I go on and say, "Ha, that's good. Ha ha, karma." I'm like, the guy faked it. He fooled everybody. There's little kids that look up to you, and you're faking an injury. You're stopping the clock just to play the game. And dude, I got ripped. People wish cancer upon me. People wish death upon me. People want to unalive me. You are a piece of garbage. I'm like, no, I'm just stating that this guy was a snake. He faked it. And he tore his knee. It's not like the guy broke his neck and he's paralyzed from neck down. He hurt his knee, okay? And people are just at me, like coming at me like they want to destroy me. And I did another post saying, I'm doubling down on this, man. Like, I think it's hilarious that karma bit him in the ass. He did this dramatic presentation and fooled everybody. Am I a bad dude? Like, I'm not, I don't think I'm a bad dude. And so my friends even telling me, like my inner circle, like, Joe, you need to tone it down a little bit, you know? You're not gaining followers. So I'm like, you know what? I don't really care. I'm just being myself. I'm telling people how I feel. It's like, so I'm getting ripped off. And again, I'm not on stage like you. I want to hear your story of what it's like being on stage, but I'm feeling it on social. I just don't let it get to me, but I just wanted to share that with you. Does that sound like a terrible thing? Maybe I should be, I'm not praising injury, but I'm just like, karma got you, you know?
Well, yeah, it's interesting. Like the things that we would say at a dinner table, like it's
Yeah.
okay to say it privately, but then if you say your genuine thoughts publicly, all of a sudden you're getting like scolded. You're getting, oh, that's not how you should say it. Basically, we have to
Yeah.
filter ourselves for
Yeah.
online.
I don't want to
And
be good.
I don't want to do that either, bro, because the thing is, I think authenticity is something that's getting lost. And if you authentically feel someone, you're not hurting anyone. I mean, you're not wishing death upon his
No,
family. You're not saying anything mad, flagrant. You're saying this is what karma is. This is a great lesson in it. But then, the people who are in like a lot of therapy, they would say something like, "It's not what you say, it's how you say
yeah,
it."
maybe I shouldn't have laughed. I should have been like, look, karma bit him. I know I could have articulated it better, but I was just like, sucker. Like, like
Yeah.
that's how I felt, man. Like you went and manipulated. I'm like, it was dramatic, dude. Like, come on. Like, really? Like, I don't know, man. I just like shit like that bothers me when people just fake it. Even soccer players, they go down and like they're totally fine. They dramatize the whole thing. You don't see that as much or at all in the UFC. That's why I've been kind of more gravitating more towards fighting, a little more adrenaline, a little more out. Like this is football, dude, and we see all these football players wearing skirts and like I don't know, man. It's just weird. Like times have changed, and it's like I don't know. I'm not used to it, man. I'm a little old school. I want the tough, rough and tough, men type times. That's just me. But anyway,
No,
that's
I mean, hey, bro, me too, man. And also it's like, the whole like men is men, let's be tough. Also, it's like, and also say what you feel, say what you feel. Now it's like if I want to say something, you have to do like a bit of a dance, but it's fine. I mean, with comedy, I don't feel at all like I'm. People say, oh, you're being censored. You can't say what you want to say. You can say what you want to say, but it has to be hilarious,
yeah.
and the level of hilarity has been raised. It's like you can't, if you're going to say something about Israel Palestine, you have a point you want to say it, but it has to be really funny. If there's something you
Yeah.
want to say about homelessness, there's something you want to say about gay rights, transgender rights, what other races. If there's other things you want to say. It just has to be very funny and it has to have a point, which is why recently I was so proud of myself because I had a joke about the transgender and LGBT flag. I had a joke about it that ended up getting a write up in the New York Post. And I thought a lot about this joke and it was essentially just posing a question. And, I was able to, just to paraphrase it a bit, there's a new transgender flag that has like 6 additional colors and it
Okay.
represents the transgender, non-binary, and people of color community. They added to the flag, and
Mhm.
then they had gay pride outside my house, and there's some people with like the new flag with the 6 additional colors, and then there's some people with the old gay flag, the
Okay.
traditional rainbow. So
I'm,
my
I'm not.
question
Up,
is,
I'm not up to speed on any of these flags, but okay.
yeah. So my question about the flags was, I was like, is the old flag considered like the gay Confederacy?
Oh yeah.
Is that like, oh, these are dated views. We don't
Yeah.
believe in this flag. Like, do those people kneel for the new flag? Which is sort of the question that I was posing, and I didn't mean any malice by it. I wasn't trying to hurt anyone. I
Yeah.
wasn't coming at it from a judgy.
Question.
I was just trying to question it. And then people are like, wow, this guy actually brought up a good point. So I was proud of myself to where I was like, wow, I can actually have the courage to ask the questions I want to ask and not feel like I'm going to get canceled, you know?
Yeah, and I think I've seen a lot of influencers that are gay that don't wanna be associated with the trans aspect of it. So, like, are they being offended that they're part of that group? Is like there's just so much division, it's constantly dividing and slicing it up even more. Like, I don't know, I don't get too much involved with that stuff. I just, I have my own flag and it's, the Canadian one, that's where I was born, and I'm trying to and the Assyrian one. That's all I go by. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, I was just curious. Like, how do you feel? I think there was a post I saw with you where you said that you got booed, or like, how does it feel? Because again, I never did comedy, but I remember even in elementary school, I did like we did this like it was like a talent show, and I did a comedy thing, and like it's so hard, man. It's like. I could do it in front of a camera, not even comedy, but I do my like vlogging. I've been vlogging since 2016, and that's a challenge to a lot of people, and I've become natural at it. But to be in front of people, because if you say the wrong thing and they boo you, how do you recuperate in your brain? Like, like how do you bounce back from that? Is there a lot of pressure because you have to feed off the crowd, right?
Yeah, man. Honestly, bro, I'm at the point in my career where people can boo, which very, by the way, rarely happens.
Okay.
I almost never been booed my entire career. And then I'm in Detroit, and I mentioned that I don't speak Arabic. And then the people in the crowd started to boo me. Obviously Detroit has the highest population of Arabs in the entire country.
Yeah.
And, my parents are from Iraq. They're Assyrians from Iraq. And so, they speak Sudeth and Arabic.
Yeah.
So Sudeth is our cultural language and our native language is Arabic. I don't speak it. People started to boo me, and I was just like, and I just shut them down immediately. And I got an applause break from my response to them. If you want to hear the response, watch Detroit Player,
Okay.
tune in. But yeah, bro, I mean, I'm just at the point right now where I feel like whatever the defense does, I know exactly how to run past them. So whatever the audience, whatever the crowd, whatever the room, whether there's 40 people, 4,000 people, whether it's no matter what it is, I'll find a way to make it work.
But most people like the joke. Like I remember when I went out to my stag for my before I got married, we went out with friends, went to a comedy club in Niagara Falls, and one guy made fun of me a lot, and I thought it was hilarious. Like my wife's name is Marina, so he's referring to her as some sort of like place to park your boat. Like it was just so many like jokes. I'm just like, dude, like it was so funny. Like I laughed my head off, and it's like I think when people are there, like they're a little more kind of in that environment, they're immersed, and they don't get as offended, right? When they're when you're making fun of them, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, bro, it's fun. Like I used to sit at the lunch table as a kid, and people used to clown me and just say that I look like the dad from American Pie.
Come
Right? Bro, they were just clowning me so hard, and I would like laugh. I'm like, bro, that's so funny. And I would
on.
think of roasts for them. But now it's like someone will say, man, you look like the dad from American Pie. And the kid's like, how can you say this? And then
Yeah,
all of a sudden the kid is like, I was traumatized.
yeah, yeah,
And then like they're about to say the sentence, and then they pause like, and then and then it's
yeah.
just like, the fuck are we doing, bro? Like, we can't make fun of somebody. Like, we can't clown somebody. Like, because now it's not even about intent. Because people always say, it was never my intention to hurt anyone.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's never someone's intention to, like,
No.
hurt somebody. But now you have to say, I am sorry. I didn't mean it. I was just trying to make a joke, and I realized that it has the wrong implications. I'm sorry for all those that I hurt. So basically, it's like, I'm just living in comedy, should be unapologetic, unless you're being clearly hurtful, which is comedy I don't fuck with. And it's
Yeah,
like if you're just saying shit and it's not funny, fuck you. You have
yeah,
to be funny.
yeah,
Both those things have to be present.
yeah,
So if you're at a comedy club and some guy's talking about your wife, if some guy's talking about your wife and he's not being funny, you might be like, all right, bro, this guy is not only is he talking about my wife, he's not funny. Now I'm
yeah,
upset.
yeah. Then a fight could potentially break out.
Yeah, bro. Bro, see, bro, there was a video of some dude, I can't remember his name, who literally got into a fight with some guy in the front row and he threw a Christmas tree at him.
Wow. Wow, this is during the holiday season?
During the holiday season, this guy,
Obviously,
he's
yeah.
on stage. He's on stage. I can't remember where he was. I think it was in Detroit. And he goes, I already got my money. I don't need to make you laugh, motherfucker. And he started like yelling at the guy in the front row. And the dude in the front row just walked on stage, bro.
Wow. Wow. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. What is the scene like now? Like the overall, like as a general consensus, like if you were to go back to say comedy in the late 80s, early 90s to now, do you find that there is a filter more, like people are more filtered though in general?
No, man. And I just think we're just seeing more blowback because there's like people who are offended, they now have a platform.
Yeah.
I believe people were always offended, but they took their offense in the car privately on the ride home with whoever was at the show. They're like, I don't like that he said that. I thought it was this. And one person says, well, I thought it was this. So now instead of that car conversation is happening on TikTok in the comment section.
Yeah.
And it's this huge, like, I'm so upset. I was so pissed. And then there's like this, like, what I call emotional flopping,
Yeah.
where like how homie that played for the Vikings flopped. People flop on TikTok. They're like, I was so offended when I heard this joke. I'm like, no, you weren't. Maybe they were, and I don't want to invalidate their feelings, but it feels like emotional flopping where now everyone is trying to jump on board because they want to get views. Like there was this one guy who he had this podcast out where he's talking shit about Matt, and then he goes, Matt Rife is stealing jokes. Personally, I never find him funny. I think he steals jokes, and then he said Matt looks like a handsome lesbian, which is one of Matt's jokes that he used in his
Yeah.
first special. So I was like, this guy's saying I don't like Matt. He steals jokes, yet he himself stole Matt's joke to insult him. So I'm like, this guy's a fucking loser, bro. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, yeah, I don't take a lot of that seriously. I think if you're a comic, bro, just go, move. Don't be afraid of nobody.
Dude, I was so made fun of in elementary school back then. We're talking like 90s here. So like I was a chubby kid, right, in grade 7, 8, and I had a mustache. My mom would not let me shave. My imagine being a kid in grade 7 and you're like at least 30 to 40 pounds overweight. You're taller than everybody, but and you're fat and you got a mustache. Dude, I was made fun of every day. My skin is so thick right now. Like my last name is Khamou, right? They'd be like, oh, Khamou, it's like Khamou, right? It's like, how come canoes can float and you can't? And like I had the Shamu jokes, like remember the whale from
Yeah.
go
Free
back
Willy.
go back to SeaWorld. Oh, it was SeaWorld. It was Shamu. I think it was like a whale, right? So I used to make made fun of it. It was called Shamu, Khamou, the whale. Dude, I've heard it all, man. And I just back then it kind of hurt me, but it's just now it actually made me a stronger person. I just don't know. Like everybody just wants to like cater to everybody and everybody's so soft and so sensitive and it's like I don't want to hurt your feelings, but that's not the real world, man. It's like you got to be tough, and my kids are 6 and 4 and I teach them lion mentality, be strong, and they're playing Nintendo and one loses. I'm like, tough, you lost, do better next time, get over it, right? Like it's just part of life. It's not, as Rocky said in one movie, life ain't no sunshines and rainbows. It's not, yet everybody's acting like it is on social media. It's not.
Yeah, it's not, man. You know what? I'll say this a brief story. So I had this joke that I was talking about where in one of in I saw the social media clip where this woman told the school that her child is a cat,
Oh, I
and that
remember this. Yeah, I remember this.
yeah. So basically, the child identified as a cat, and he wanted to use the litter box to
Yeah.
use the bathroom. And then I also, when I was a kid, I thought I was a cat.
Really? Is this a true story?
I thought I was a cat, and I went up to this kid named Kevin, who was my bully, and I was like, "Hey, Kevin, I'm a cat." And then Kevin punched me in the face.
Okay.
I never thought I was a cat again
For sure.
after that moment. And
Yeah.
it's like there are some times where like being like, bullied, being made fun of,
Yeah, helps you.
being clowned upon. Yeah, man. But the thing is also it's like I understand like there are some kids who like, emotionally they're not ready to be made fun of. They're not emotionally available to like understand the joke. And it's like whether it comes from the parents, whether it comes from the foods that we eat, I don't know where it comes from, but it's just like I think the teachers need to do a better job and the parents need to do a better job of being like, instead of being like there should also be some like, hey, say something back. Say something back to them. It doesn't necessarily need to be a fight. It doesn't necessarily, but the thing is also kids are so crazy now. A kid will just try to be like, I'm gonna bring a gun and I'm gonna fucking kill everybody, which is its whole other conversation. And it gets very scary, to
Yeah.
even think about. So, I would say, bro, I'm not a parent. I don't know what it's like to be a father. God willing, I do become father one day,
Yeah.
but it's like I definitely want to instill thick skin, be tough. It's okay. These are just words. Fight back with words, and I just want to build a lion, like you said too.
Yeah, lion mentality. I built my brand on that. But I mean, there was that old saying, knock some sense into you. So I think that there's a reason that came out, knock some sense into you. And some people just need it. Do you think it'll ever flip though? Like, I think it's gone so far in such a way where everybody's so sensitive that I think it'll just come back, not come back completely, but come back to a point where people are just tougher. They've had enough. I think a majority of people want that. They want people with thicker skin. They don't want so much people getting offended about stuff. Like, do you think it'll just get so bad that it just comes right back a little bit, swings back?
Yeah, I definitely think the comedic community is fighting back.
Yeah,
So I think now it's like, hey, don't buy tickets to a show. It doesn't affect me. If I say this joke and you don't like it, you have the right to walk out. And if you think about it, very few people walk out. People aren't like so offended, like at Tim Dillon, at Andrew Schultz says some pretty vile shit, but it's also hilarious.
yeah,
And people are like, yeah, we celebrate him. A, I'm sure a lot of people who are like, we hate Andrew Schultz. He's not our type of comedy. Then it's like, cool, watch someone else that you like. You don't have to watch Andrew Schultz. And the people who do like Schultz will see him. So I don't think it's like really affecting it as much. I just think because we see it on social media, it's like, oh, I think this could affect them. But these are people who weren't going to buy tickets anyway, like I said.
exactly. So I sell a course on fantasy football, and like the haters in my comments, they're most likely not going to be buying my course anyway. And it's so funny because they say, oh, because I saw the 16 round draft solution. What it is, it's the optimal players to draft for fantasy football before the season. And some people are like, "Oh, your 16 round sucks, man. Your product sucks." I'm like, "Dude, have you got it?" And they're like, "Oh, it sucks, bro." I'm like, "Send me an email, show me that you've got it, and show me where it sucks." Like, and they just shut up because they didn't even buy my course. They're not going to buy my course. They're just there to troll and hate. And it's so sad that people take the time out of their day to sit there and hate. Although it is actually helpful because it's increasing the algorithm and the engagement in my post, so it's more people view it. But yeah, it's pretty sad, man. Just some people they're just trolls and haters.
Yeah, but also I want to hear constructive criticism, saying something like, "Hey, this sucks."
Yeah.
End of sentence. That's your
Trash.
feedback.
It's trash,
Yeah,
man. Your advice is
trash.
trash.
Now, as opposed to saying like, "Hey, I went through, I bought the program, I noticed that in blah 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 blah,
Yes.
this and this. Have you ever
Yeah.
considered
No.
like those?" That's why I'm saying no one's like, "Hey, Matt, I noticed when you first did your joke about domestic violence. Yes, it is about domestic violence, but I also noticed this. Have you ever considered blah 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 blah?" No one is doing that shit. No one is leaving comments like that. That's why I don't take comments seriously when someone's just like, "Hey, you suck. This is trash." You know what I'm saying? You look like the dad from American Pie.
Do you have the
I
glasses?
was
Have you
like,
got the glasses? Doesn't he have glasses, the guy? Do you have them?
bro, I used to wear glasses on stage, and man, people used to be like, "You look like a Middle Eastern Millhouse."
Come on.
I was getting clowned heavy, bro. And it was hilarious. I'm like, yeah, that is funny. But I only respond to criticism and everything else like trash. This sucks. Those are just trolls.
Yeah. So what are your game plans moving forward? You saw the huge success of Matt. I mean, it seems like you're on the same trajectory in regards to amazing comedy content. You got a great inner circle. So what is the plan moving forward? Are you going to continue with the comedy? Is Hollywood the goal? If you land a job on a movie, is that kind of your goal? What are some things? What are some irons in the fire that you're working on to propel your brand?
Man, I got a big appetite. I got a big appetite. So basically, using this special to help parlay into other projects. 2024 is going to be a really cool year, man. I have an animation coming out that will be available on Amazon. It's called Number One Happy Family USA. I'm doing voices on that. So that's coming out. There's a couple other projects that I have that are being cooked up right now. So I'm writing some things. So essentially, what I'm going to use this comedy special for is to get more ticket sales. I'm going to tour the country, keep blowing up my brand, keep writing, more acting opportunities will come because it's like how Hollywood works is the more juice you have, the more people want to work with you. So,
Right.
from the juice of this special, we'll see what it can eventually manifest itself to. But, bro, I'm just ready. I'm just staying ready, and I'm ready for whatever comes next.
It seems like I don't think there's been a major Assyrian breakout. We had Benil in the UFC. We've had, other guys starting good podcasts. They've gotten bigger. George Jenko, Patrick McDavid's growing. Seems like we're almost at the brink of like breaking through to the mainstream. Andre Agassi, former tennis player, I think he was part Assyrian. I don't think he was full Assyrian. I don't think he even admitted he was Assyrian. But anyway, but uh,
Yeah,
but I'd like to see more Assyrians emerge, and I feel that you've got that it factor that you could be one of the guys, one of us to break through. And let's not forget about each other when we do make it. Like I really want us to lift each other up because again, with the Assyrian community, you find it that they don't help like they say they help each other, but like really like I haven't seen a lot of Assyrians lift each other up. And I really want to try to lift other people up, and particularly Assyrians, honestly. I do.
bro. Me too, man. Me too, man. The community in Detroit.
Huge.
They,
It's a huge
yeah,
community,
bro,
right?
huge community. I mean, they say we're Chaldean. You know what I'm saying? Like some of them, which is what I found a problem. I was like, how come Chaldeans don't acknowledge that they're Assyrian? No one's acknowledging they're Assyrian. I like you ask someone, hey, what are you? They say or what's your ethnic background? They say I'm Chaldean.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, but Chaldean is not an ethnicity. It's a religious sect of the Assyrians. So like I noticed that there was like divide in Detroit. So I started being very outspoken, saying, hey, we are Assyrian. We should remind people that we are Assyrian and we are one. And that came with its own blowback. That came with its own people in the comments like you're a liar. That's not who we are. We are Chaldean. That's not true. So, and I was just like, listen, bro, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna say what's on my heart and what I believe is true according to history. And if you don't know, you should know. And like a lot of people in the younger community are like, thank you so much for saying that. Thank you so much for trying to unite our people. So, it was never a dream or goal of mine. I think it's something that happens later. Like now that people are starting to pay attention and say, hey, what does Paul Elia want to do? I'm just like, man, well, I can only be who I am, and I want to raise more of who I am up. So, bro, you and me, very similar, man. I want to see Assyrians thrive. I want to see an Assyrian flag. I want to see more of that, and I want, just more people to know about our culture and what we have going on.
Yeah, we don't want to divide it even much because we're already a small group anyway, right? And then we divide it into Chaldeans and certain different tiers of that. We all want to stick together, unite, and help each other grow. And I'm glad to see that you're growing as well. So you're based out of Detroit. Anything coming up now? Any big events, shows? And I see that you come to Toronto once in a while too. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah. I come out to Toronto every now and then. I always tap in with my boy Dave Merhej, who is a Canadian legend, Lebanese comedian, man. If you don't know Dave Merhej, you should. Yeah, man, I'm definitely going to come out to Toronto more. I'm definitely planning more shows. The last time I was in Toronto, I did the Just for Laughs Festival. And man, so many people from Toronto came out, man. Like I posted once on my stories, and normally it's like I'll like people like let me know when you're coming here, let me know when you're coming here. Then I'll post about it, and then they're like, oh, my bad, I had something come up. But bro, when I posted I was in Toronto, the show sold out like almost immediately, and it was a lot of Assyrians, bro, driving in from different parts of Canada to
Yeah.
come to Toronto to watch, man. So I was like so overwhelmed by the love there, man. So definitely gonna come to Toronto soon, man. My website, watch Paul Elia. I'm gonna have more of my tour dates on there. Also, if you want to watch my comedy special, Detroit Player, it is available on Mint Comedy. Really excited about that, man. And then for any other updates, people can just follow me on Instagram. Instagram link is right over here, Paul Elia Comedy.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on. Great chat. We'll get you back on as this show continues to grow. I want you to be like a regular on the show, but I'm still got to grow it out. I'm really focused on the Joe Khamou show. And speaking of comedy here, I had this girl on. I don't know if you saw it. The video got a lot of views. And I have a relatively new channel here. She had 300 guys in a year. Did you see that one?
Yeah, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so it's crazy because a lot of people did reposting of it, but they didn't really shout my show because it's kind of small. It's just growing, right? For the counselor brand is big, but the Joe Cabot is still growing. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of jokes you can make there. But here's the ironic thing: it's like 300 men a year, and the girl she wants to find a good guy, like she wants to get married and settle down, but like I don't know if that's gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, look, I'll tell you this: she can definitely find a man.
yeah,
You know what I mean? She'll definitely find a man, and it's like, I believe that the whole honor system of like honoring your body, people are just like, I don't give a shit no more. Like someone will be like, hey, but look how hot she is, and she got an accent, and she Australian. So it's, you know what I mean?
No, but it's like I remember I did the club scene years ago, and it's like I couldn't find a wife. I'm like, I'm going to the club. I'm picking up. I'm hanging out. It's like, why can't I find a good wife? It's like, well, because you're not putting yourself in a proximity of someone. You got to be the person you want to attract. If you're an a-hole, you might attract an a-hole, right? Again, I just feel that like attracts like, and you got to really be. That's when I found the right person. Is when I had to be the person that I wanted, wanted to attract. That's the secret. So if you're out there doing this, you're going to probably attract that type of person that's probably going to want to be with other people as well. So it's tough.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's wild, like, cause I have my own take on it, and I don't judge anyone's lifestyle. I mean,
Yeah.
I think anyone's lifestyle is between them and God, my
Yeah,
opinion.
for
You know
sure.
what I'm saying? It's like, I personally believe that it's like, I would say the older I got too, it's like, man, just having like senseless sex, obviously it's like, it feels good. And then afterwards, you're
It's
just
empty.
like,
It's empty.
you're empty. So the thing is, people are like doing it for the hype factor and they're basically dismissing that emptiness, and they're able to deal with, and the emptiness doesn't affect them as much. The emptiness affected me too much because I was looking for a wife and I was looking for someone serious. I mean, I'm on tour with Matt. Most of his audience, I mean, I would say more than half of the crowd are very beautiful women, and literally all in the DMs sending messages. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing after the show? Oh my God. So, and I'm like, man, that phase of my life, I don't look at it with that much. It's not as alluring to me because I'm like, man, I have an amazing woman in my life, bro. I want her to be the woman of my children. I found this person I want to like grow with. Like, that seems to hold way more substance to me than like senseless sex.
For
But then
sure.
there's some people that I know, a lot of entertainers, musicians, people that are travelers in the game, and then they have access to this, and they're just like, bro, why would I not want to have sex with everyone that I've
Yeah.
seen? I mean, this woman who had sex with 300 people, she's pulling Drake numbers.
Yeah.
Like, even Chris Brown is like, how do I do that? You know what I'm saying? So it's like that right there, bro. It is, I mean, in theory, I would love to. I'm going to listen to the whole interview. I'd listen to like pieces of it. She
Yeah.
seemed very happy, you
I don't
know.
know. I gotta feel like there's something missing. Like I don't know. Maybe she seems kind of confident about it. She's owning it.
Yeah, it's basically like, own it, sis. It's your body. Fuck everybody. That
Literally.
whole vibe. Yeah. Fuck
Literally.
everybody and fuck everybody.
Exactly. And she had,
Slay.
funny thing is, out of the whole thing, she hasn't seen the movie 300. Like I thought she would have definitely watched that movie because everyone makes Sparta and all that whole thing. I just rewatched that movie, man. That talk about a movie that gets your adrenaline going, man. I need that in my life. Like I'm just watching that show Reacher. That Reacher. I don't know if you saw that on Amazon.
Yeah.
That Reacher movie. So it's just like I like those. Like 24 is one of my favorite shows. I like Sopranos. I'm a big Rocky fan. Big Rocky fan. I need those movies in my life. I don't know what it is, man. It's adrenaline. I rewatched Bloodsport recently. Remember that old movie, Bloodsport?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the movies I need in my life. I just need that. It just gets me going, man. I love that. Love the
Man,
adrenaline.
bro, I had my girlfriend watch Rocky for the first time. She's never seen Rocky. She's 29, never saw it.
Okay.
And, she's from Venezuela. She, it's a socialist government. She basically had to leave her country as a political refugee. So
Wow.
she was always the underdog. She moved to America, had to work as a waitress. She had a degree in dentistry. It was basically rendered useless. So she, now she's, at UCLA. She almost graduated from the dental program. So, she's basically like starting to like rise up. And then she saw Rocky and she just was like
Yeah.
bawling, bro. Bawling because, like, so many people can identify with this story. Being the person that was counted out, you will never win. Even from his wife, when Adrian said, you can't win, screaming it
Yeah.
at him.
Yep.
And then he won, and then he did it. I don't mean to spoil the movie for everyone who hasn't seen it,
Yeah. It's
but
amazing.
yeah, bro. So I'm just like, man, I love these stories, bro. That's why I love sports, because especially the Lions, like when I watch the Lions were always a team that somehow lost. Now it's so fun watching them this season because they're always trying to find a way to win. The
Yeah.
games are always exciting. First quarter, they come out, boom, punch you in the face, punch you in the face. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, they start getting slugged in the face. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
what's going to happen? And then they pull through.
Yeah, and Cleveland Browns are actually putting off. Joe Flacco's back, and you think the guy's career is over, and he was never like an amazing quarterback, and he's coming back this year. It's so interesting to see. Like, I love when the underdog emerges. I love like whenever I watch like UFC fights, I always like to tend to go for the underdog because I just want to. I don't like the guys that are on like an 8-fight win streak and they're like champions and they're holding their breath. I want the champion to go down. I want to see the underdog step up. It's such an amazing moment to see when underdog rises. And I've always felt that I've got a chip on my shoulder. I don't know. Do you have the same feeling sometimes? Like you feel like you're the underdog and you're trying to, or I don't know where you're at. Like I always got a chip on my shoulder, man.
Oh, bro. I mean, I've always felt like I've been slept on. I always felt like I had something to provide creatively, and I felt like I had a microphone with no electricity, and nobody can hear me, but only the people in the front can hear me, and the people all the way in the back, the masses, they can't hear me.
Right.
So I always felt like, and I felt like it was out of my control. But then I was just like, you know what, man, if I keep talking, if I talk loud enough, I can get people to hear me. And then now all of a sudden I'm starting to feel the electricity in the microphone. Now people are listening. Now people are paying attention. But for a while, when I felt like I didn't have as much of a reach, I was just like, bro, everybody's sleeping on me. People don't want me to win. I can never catch a break. I would audition for things and I would lose things to people who know other people. And I'm like, man, this is not going to the best person. There's so many politics involved. So many people want to hold me down. So many people hold me small. A lot of these thoughts were things that made me want to work harder. Same thing with like Rocky, like when his wife was saying you can't win and
Yeah.
all these other setbacks that he just had to find the courage to like move. And every movie is different. He always found a different motivation to move. And so
Yeah.
eventually I was just like, man, I'm just going to do my best. I'm going to keep moving. I'm not going to listen to this shit. And bro, a lot of it was from my own family too, bro. Like even my own family is just like, maybe you should do something else. Maybe you
Yeah.
should do something else. And then I'm just like, nah, man, fuck this. And that's why, I'm so grateful for the circle that I have, and I'm gonna bring up Matt again, where it was like, both of us were slept on, bro. Matt was basically, before he blew up on TikTok, we're literally sharing in a hotel that a comedy festival didn't pay for. We had to
Wow.
pay for it ourselves, fly ourselves out there. And we're in a hotel. Like, man, we both lost $1,200 being here, doing this festival. Like, why are we at this point in our lives where we're losing money? We're paying to do comedy. And we're just like, bro, this is not justice. This is not right. And then literally a few months later, boom. So it
Yeah.
happens.
I saw a meme. It's like you have like you're grinding what year one, year two, year three, year four, and then there's just that 1 year where it's that hockey stick growth and it just blows up, takes off for you. And hopefully that happens for you soon. I'm looking for that moment soon. And it's like, and some people are like haters, like, how'd this guy get there? Who's that guy? Dude, like they don't see all that hard work all those years. They just don't.
Yeah, man. People don't see it, man. But that's why I'm so comfortable sharing it. And a lot of my stand up is about the struggle. And when I get a platform like yours, man, I definitely want to share that. Like, someone asked me like, what do you want people to walk away with? I just want to walk away with people knowing that it's a choice to get back up.
I think with comedy too, you got to be relatable. I got to listen to more of your stuff. I haven't listened again. I just discovered you a couple days ago. And again, I'm like, I seriously got to get him on. So I want to start listening to more of your stuff. But I just find that the more relatable you are, the more people resonate with you. Like I like that guy. What's his name? I'm brutal with names, man. The Italian guy that's really funny.
Sebastian,
Yeah, I think he's funny. I don't know if you like him or not. I don't know much.
brilliant,
I love
brilliant. Sebastian Maniscalco is brilliant.
Love him. Like he's so relatable. Like it's just like, oh, this I can relate, and it just makes you laugh and laugh. And yeah, man, I like him a lot.
I love him too, bro. Yeah, man. I mean, there's basically a cocktail of things. It has to be funny. It has to be relatable. Then some people are like, it has to be clean. Some people are like, oh, I like something that are more raunchy. I like whatever. But the two basic categories is it truthful? Is it relatable? Is it funny? Three, actually. So, Sebastian's a master, man. This guy. And again,
So
Sebastian is
good.
someone who's been grinding for years, bro. Someone actually told me a funny story about Sebastian. I don't know if it's true. This is just what I heard when
Yeah,
before he moved to LA, he would send his headshot to casting directors. And I guess the headshot was like him like in a tank top, leather jacket, super Goomba. And
yeah.
he would be like, and he wrote coming soon.
Wow.
And he started to send that out to people. And the level of confidence that you have to let people know, like, listen, I know I'm going to make it. So, hey, I'm just going to send this to you now. I guarantee you every casting director who has that photo, who saved that photo is like, wow, this is treasure.
Yeah.
So
Kind of like Jim Carrey when he wrote that $1 million check to himself, right? It's like you put it out there and you know what's going to happen.
yeah. By the way, that check did bounce.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Jim Carrey, eh?
I
Yeah.
love that guy, man. He's great. People think he's crazy, man. I don't think that. I mean, people have, there's so many haters that just have such a two-dimensional view of what the world really is. Like
Yeah.
they don't really see like the inner workings of like what someone is actually trying to do. They're like the people we talk about. They're like, this is trash.
Yeah.
This is dumb. Like I think most people sort of look at with this lens, and then there's this actually sophisticated three-dimensional lens that you can actually look at if you actually care to pay attention. And like Jim Carrey, bro, is someone who I admire so much, man. I love that dude.
Brilliant. Yep, for sure. So yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on. We'll have to get you on again, man. I really appreciate the conversation. And they can follow you, Paul Elia Comedy. I've linked it below. I'll link it here below here on YouTube as well. And man, I wish you nothing but success and as you continue to grow with your comedy and all your ventures, man. I appreciate you. Really.
Thank you, man. Thank you, bro. I'd love to tap in when I'm in Toronto, bro. Let's hit the gym.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon, guys. Go follow below and we're out, man. Thanks, Paul.